Hey guys, here next episode here comes transgender hate mail, homosexual hate mail, atheist hate mail, basically me reacting to a bunch of screen caps on YouTube and DeviantArt. There are responsive comments I made against these deviant lifestyles and a few other things. Trigger warning, if you don't like what I'm saying, go ahead, click off the video. Don't lie and say there's hate speech in my videos, because there is no hate speech in my videos, it's speech you hate, that's a different story. Let's continue on with these people getting things wrong and these comment sections to be trying to figure out with bio versus the basic biology and other things like that. Yeah. There may be some overlap, but gotta do this stuff here. You know, this girl, first born with ovaries, who's saying that she's a man, a trans man, is a trans man, is showing off what the transgender lifestyle actually is, and I'm of course am showing off how bad that stuff is. Let's continue on here. And girl says, it's not a way through life. It totally is a way through life. There's so much choice in transgender lifestyle. And that's all wrong. Bad choices. It's just something I've done not to be miserable through lies, because of the lies I was told, basically. I have a life other than being trans. In fact, sometimes I just forget about it altogether. And then you're reminded, it makes you sad and angry and wish that you didn't have to deal with that stuff. But you don't. You got to stop messing around with that stuff. It's bad news. I'm perfectly fine with people knowing who I'm trans, as long as they don't treat me differently from any other person they meet. In fact, like I said, I had to tell them myself. But the issue is, if you were to not hide your biological sex, if you were to stop trying to hide your breasts and curves, and use, the pronouns assigned at birth, then that would be better, because then it's not lying about your biological sex. If someone decides to treat you wrong, then that's on them, because of your biological sex, that's on them. That's the issue with me, It's the same thing as race or nationality. It's basically like, no, they don't like, there are people out there, someone will say, there are people out there that don't like dudes. There are people out there that don't like women. Oh, crap. Gotta magnet away from the thumb drive. Thumb drive. Make sure I magnet's not on that. Oh, not in there. I guess I'll throw it there. That'll be better. Maybe like, they don't like this. The dudes, they don't like girls. There's people that don't like dudes. They don't like girls. They got the people out there that don't like white people. There are people out there that don't like Asian people or Hispanic people or whatever. And they'll yell at them and hate on them. But it's because they got it wrong. Not because something's wrong with your body or anything. It's because they heard the rumors and hearsay about the lies about someone, and they believe that crap. And so they're going to basically perpetuate those lies. Now, that is not something that you need to try and stop by hiding what you are. And that's the issue with this. They're trying to stop people from being mean to them by hiding what they are, to conform to what they think society wants them to be. Is okay with, when that's not right. So let's continue on here. Girls like that. If it's part of you, I say, quote, if she quotes me, if it's a part of you, you should not resist it. Like, that's my point. I had it my whole life. No, you haven't. You've had to fight it your whole life. You have been tempted by it your whole life, for a while, once you learned what it was. You started learning about it and it started developing, and then you basically resist, instead of resisting it like you're supposed to, fear, you've given into it. And you're cowering in fear of it, don't find out the truth. That's bad news. Be on here. We had about she has an eye over life. Some of the earliest signs I remember when I was a toddler. I remember wishing I grew a penis way back when. But yeah, that's what it is. It's jealousy. It's wanting something you can't have. You don't have. It's wrong. So it doesn't work. So it's not about aesthetic. It totally is about aesthetic. Unless you talk about it for you like a sentient being, when it's not. It totally is a sentient being. Is it our enemy? We must fight against it. It doesn't want to like or hate anything. It does. It wants us destroyed. It wants us cowering in fear. As order is master of the devil. So stay away from that. It's just something that went a little different in my brain. Just like autism or ADHD or OCD. No, it isn't. Definitely not. I say, no, it isn't. As someone who's been tested for all kinds of stuff and has been diagnosed as autistic, or at least as, stuff like that. Yeah, it is definitely not the same thing as ADHD. With autistic, ADHD, ADD, whatever, learning differences, disabilities, whatever you want to call it. Someone is basically, diagnosed with that stuff. They tell you that feeling fear and choosing what to do with it, wrong, choosing the wrong choice to deal with it is not the same as basically that. Okay, well, watch this. I say, no, it isn't. None of those things tempt you to lie. Dysphoria does. And you're right. It does stem from childhood. Kids get jealous of others too. And girls like, well, then depression and OCD are not equally valid. They have different symptoms. No, they're different things. Not the same thing. Depression and OCD are basically mental things that cause physical issues. But yeah, no, OCD and depression are basically two different kinds of things. Depression is fear and sadness. Sadness and hopelessness based on fear of what you think life is like. That's depression. OCD is obsessive compulsive. So obsessive and compulsive. It's basically trying to make everything perfect. Because of fear. Of what could be. There's fear involved, but it's definitely not the same stuff. But it is, however, those are mental things. Okay. She tried to compare these two. It's a little different. It doesn't really work out so well. Jealousy and dysphoria do not feel the same. They don't, because fear is the feeling of basically being afraid of what could happen to you because of something else. Jealousy is the anger and a wish that you had something that you do not have. Okay, jealousy and fear can be linked. You see people, males and females, both looking at the other side. Okay, there, being like, man, if only I had that. I can't believe I don't have that. I wish I had that. The girls look at the boys and be like, man, can't believe that stuff. Look at how easy they got it. Girls, the boys look at the girls like, I can't believe that stuff. Look how easy they got it. It's all hearsay and rumor. They're both jealous of the other. Grass is always on the other side type stuff. But it's all, and they're afraid. It's like they're afraid of what could happen to them. And it's like, if only I had that. I wouldn't have the fear and jealousy can coexist. They're not the same things, but they can coexist. They can work together to cause problems. The dysphoria fear is definitely part of that, because in journal entries, girls have been saying, who are transition, have been saying some stuff like, I hate seeing dudes have fun. I hate that I have to deal with this stuff that dudes do not have to deal with. Times they say period stuff. I gotta dress in this different outfit. I gotta put this bra on. I gotta do all this other stuff. I can't. The Jews don't have to do that. And it's like, no, you don't. No, that's jealousy there, but it's also fear. Also, dudes are coming at us. Driving by in their cars, yelling at stuff at us. We have to deal with that too. Different stuff, but still, idiots yelling at us. But they're yelling no dude. Like, sometimes they do, but different. But it's just like a lot of stuff going on there. Watch, let's go. That's another. Kids get other jealous of others too. The girl says, well, the difference in OCD not because they're different symptoms. Jealousy and dysphoria do not feel the same. No, but they can work together. They do not feel similar. No, they don't. But they're part of each other. They work together. Jealousy does not get so bad that you need to spend lots of money and time fixing it. Yeah, it can. It can. Oh, it can. Is you let it. I'm sorry, but you can. Some people have been trying to keep up with the Joneses. Going all over the place trying to do it. And it's just like, what are you doing? You don't need to go there. Yes, that looks nice. But you don't need that. You can figure something else out. That stuff costs some crazy money, and that'll mess you up. Or that because it requires some crazy stuff to do, and they'll mess you up. You don't need to do that stuff. Seriously, you don't. And it's just like, that's the issue. Jealousy can get bad. You gotta watch out for that. You can. Just because I'm jealous of my friend's adorable, sweet new horse doesn't mean I feel the intense, painful, and resistant need to go out and adopt a new horse. And I say, yes, it's for you. It tells people that what they have is not good enough, creating jealousy. Something that you're supposed to resist because it tempts you to sin. Dysphoria is not a neurological condition. There's an enemy that must be fought. Look what it does. It makes people waste their time and effort to do on things that instead of W, will not get them what they want to. It won't work. People born with testicles will always be male, no matter how much surgery or hormones they take. People with ovaries will always be female, no matter how much surgery or hormones they take. It's a waste of time, waste of effort. It's bad news. And girl says, what do we feel is that the body we have is not the one we belong in, but that's a lie. From the pit of hell. Not a neurological condition. No, it isn't. I'll need your source for that. Your source for that. Dysphoria, for the most part, does not persist in transition. It totally does. 100%. Be triggered. She's like, it'll be triggered because it's still there. Sure, there'll be some things that trigger dysphoria. Yeah, I thought I told you. Because it's still there. Like my hips. That's only because they're ridiculously wide.